Good morning. I'm going to continue with the seventh talk of Vimala Thakar of the little book Voyage into Oneself. This is a talk in Palo Alto, California, on the 13th of October 1968. And she says, there cannot be peace and happiness in the world as long as man is getting related to the objective world through his mind. How does one transcend the frontiers of human consciousness and arrive at living silence or peace? This challenge of psychological revolution is the basic challenge from which none of us can escape. The beauty of psychological mutation is one cannot form any idea about its consequences. It cannot be planned and systematically worked out by the brain. The results and the consequences cannot be worked out by the mind beforehand. I would like to emphasize this aspect. The word revolution is not used in the general sense. The word revolution today is related first to an ideology and second to a method or technique for bringing about a change according to this ideology. We are not using the word psychological revolution in this sense. For us, it is a total transformation of the psyche. Now, we cannot form any idea of what happens when the total transformation takes place, or of what should happen. Until now, man has been a victim of the trap of ideation. His mind is busy ideating, forming ideas. From his experience of concrete everyday events and situations, he deduces certain conclusions. This is how the mind works. And he organizes these ideas. They are converted into thought. He puts these thoughts according to his order of priority into a certain order. They become a theory or an ideology. Thus the mind is busy with ideas. As soon as you talk about God or religion, the mind wants to form an idea about God, the truth or reality. It wants an idea of what happens beyond the mind. It's a very beautiful but subtle thing to note that the mind is busy with ideas about everything. Without ideas, the mind cannot exist. We form concepts, notions, and theories of God. It is the vanity of man which makes him presumptuous enough to say that God is this and God is not that. We reduce God to our stature. We try to impose or project the deductions of our everyday experience upon the God whom we call Almighty. Therefore, you find a variety of man-made gods. In the realm of mind, everything will be conceptualized. Everything will be ideated. One has to be intensely aware of this evil habit of the mind. The foundation of religion cannot be laid in the mechanism of mind, because mind is busy projecting concepts, notions, and ideas. The realm of reality, which is the foundation of religion, defies conceptualization and ideas. We have to be very cautious when we talk of meditation. As long as you can experience something, as long as you can experience something, it is very clear that it is in the periphery of the ego. The ego is there to take the experience. It's a play of the mind on a very subtle level. When the conscious mind has been pacified, the conscious, the subconscious, with all its experiences, becomes active and one starts experiencing. These experiences have nothing to do with meditation. In the state of meditation, the experiencer himself ceases to be. There is no possibility of experiencing anything. Meditation has been confounded with opening up of the subconscious. Meditation has been confounded with the capacity to experience visions. I would like to emphasize that meditation is a state of being, a state of awareness, in which the experiencer ceases to be. The ego ceases to be. It cannot be an activity of the mind. And if I'm tempted by the achievements of the brain and the mind, and I want to identify myself with the achievements of the mind and the brain, please be sure that we are far away from meditation. Meditation is a total way of life. Meditation is exposing oneself to the unknown. Having seen the limitations of the known, one stands exposed to the unknown. In the realm of the unknown, all the concepts of all the races and communities and religions have no relevance whatsoever. In the realm of meditation, nothing which is borrowed from others is of any relevance. Are we willing to expose ourselves to the unknown? That is the basic question. Nobody wants to expose himself to the unknown. One wants to hold, to cling to the known. One wants to cling not only to the concept of Hinduism or Christianity, of being an American or an Indian, but one wants also to cling to one's preferences, judgments, and evaluations. One has to become lighter and lighter, throw away this unwarranted weight if one wants to climb the mountain top. In the same way, the acquisitions of the ego must be left behind. All relationships which are created by society for the convenience of collective life is not reality. Is one willing to stand in the nudity, exposed to the unknown, and to say that one is nothing? In the austerity of that nakedness, which is innocence and humility, the journey to the beyond begins. I may do all the yoga exercises, and I may indulge in many transcendental experiences, but this has nothing to do with religion, and it is far, far away from what I call meditation. So is one willing to expose oneself to this great unknown? You will say, if I don't belong to my family, if I don't belong to my nation, my race, my religion, what do I belong to? Perhaps, in the state of meditation, you will find that you as an entity, isolated from the universal life, do not exist at all. This concept of me, the concept of the ego as an individual entity, independent of and isolated from the universal life, may be a myth. We do not know. It is playing with fire. It is being completely free. And who wants freedom in this world? Everybody feels safe in the defense mechanism created by the ego. One wants to be secure in that prison house, and sometimes open a window to find out how the other prison houses are. Freedom is a very dangerous thing. You will be vulnerable to life. We have created so many safeguards around us. We have become afraid of life. We are afraid to live. Meditation is living exposed to every movement of life without any defense mechanism at all. I wonder if you have noticed how every person is busy from morning till night, brick by brick, constructing the defense mechanism for himself. That is what our life is. And here we feel very safe. I must know how to behave when I get angry. So I try to read books on ethics and religion. One is afraid of life, and so one tries to calculate how to act in the eventuality of anger. If I'm upset by the sexual urge, what do I do? How do I fight the obsession with sex? So we read about celibacy. They talk about celibacy. Every safeguard that you construct in the name of ethics, morality, religion, or culture is really restricting your freedom. One is afraid to live, and therefore one wants safeguards against life. Surely such a person cannot be in the state of meditation, which is a state of total freedom. All that the mind has created will have to be put aside. There is no one to take experience of. There are no norms and values to judge. There is no ego to compare, to recognize experiences. When I realize the fact that I really do not belong to all these external shells created by society around me, the whole realm of the known is pushed aside, as they are all myths. I want to read that again. All that the mind has created will have to be put aside. There is no one to take experience of. There are no norms and values to judge. There is no ego to compare, to recognize experiences. When I realize the fact that I really do not belong to all these external shells created by society around me, The whole realm of the known is pushed aside, as they are all myths. Sitting down to observe in this way, you will discover that we do not know the art of observation. We do not know how to look in a simple way. Even before the retina has received the impressions of anything, the mind starts working, giving it a name, evaluating it, comparing it, and forming an opinion about it. This whole complex process gets mixed up with the simple act of observation. If we look at the movement within, the moment of looking at movement within ourselves becomes the moment of introspection and analysis. Either we condemn what is happening or praise what is happening within us. Both ways, the mind is busy. We do not know how to look simply. If we are near the ocean standing on the beach, and if we are not consumed by the ego and the desires of the ego, the immensity of the ocean may have a staggering effect upon us. For a fraction of a second, the mind ceases to function. But after that fraction of a second, the mind starts functioning again. The mind is busy with its previous experience, comparing it with the present experience. The mind is busy with the experiences, and the beach and the ocean have disappeared. We have lost the capacity to look in a simple way, to look with a glance of innocence at anything at all. We cannot look at anything without either liking it or disliking it. I'm not saying that one should get dazed and look stupidly at the things by which one is surrounded, or the world within oneself. We will have to de-hypnotize the consciousness and learn the art of simple observation. Then while you are looking at the tree, you will be looking at the roots which are under the ground. You will be looking at the trunk, the beauty of the lines on the trunk, the branches and the various romantic poetic designs created by the various curves of the branches, the freshness of the leaves, and the tenderness of the buds and flowers, everything in one glance. How the tree takes its energy from the sunshine, the rays of the sun, from water, the sky, and from the various juices from the earth. One will not only look at the flowers and the leaves and the trunk and the roots, but the relation of the roots to the totality of the universe in one glance. One will see, if one really so looks, that the same energy flows through this human body as flows through the trees, through the waters, and shines through the rays of the sun, and blows through the breeze. It's the play of the same energy. But we have no time even to feel that oneness or unity. We are so busy analyzing, liking, disliking, and judging. and making ourselves feel safe with our likes, dislikes, and judgments. I was wondering if one could begin to learn the art of simple observation. People who sit in silence do not observe what is coming up in their minds. They judge what is happening. When you start judging, the ego comes into being and starts functioning. The mind will capture your attention and entangle you again in the network of many escapes and defenses. So one has to learn the art of simple observation, looking at a thing, not to derive pleasure or pain from it, not to acquire it or own it, not to disown it either, but just the joy of being in communion with life around and life within. If you do this for some time, you will find how the observer and the observed merge in the process of observing. There is not the duality of the observer and the observed left, but only the act of observing remains, dynamically moving. Everyone can experiment with this, and everyone can arrive at that beautiful state of silence, peace, and complete freedom. Now, what does one do in relationships? Firstly, one sees in the very beginning that all what I call my own, my family, my house, my friends, is based on the ego. So, what does one do in relationships? Firstly, one sees in the very beginning that all what I call my own, my family, my house, my friends, is based on the ego. I have no relationship with anything in the world except through the ego. One has to realize this fact first. It will take away much suffering and the tendency of developing a martyr complex. I earn money. It is a necessity to have a livelihood. I need a house. I need clothes. How many of us earn only for providing the needs of the body? Decent provision for the elementary needs of the body is one thing, and earning money for gaining more and more social respectability and entering a competitive race for respectability, fame, prestige, and comfort is something else altogether. We do so many things to gratify the ego. One has to find out how one lives. Then you will find that much of the lust and ambition for earning more and more and more will drop away. They will not have any importance anymore. One has a natural relationship with things. Earning the livelihood will be related to the provision of needs and not for the gratification of ego. Meditation is relaxation in action every moment. It is a relaxation in movement, otherwise, it has no value. It is not a state of mind to be stimulated in isolation. If someone tries to insult me, does it stimulate any traditional reaction in me? Of course it does. Getting angry is a traditional reaction. As soon as in the animal world the animal feels that its security is disturbed, it just rushes and pounces on the victim. In the same way, the moment we feel that our psychological security is in danger, we react immediately. Let us find out how we are slaves to memory, how we are slaves of our experiences. When you see the anger, the jealousy, the envy coming up, you will not try to stifle, suppress, or deny it. It will be hypocritical to do so, but you will not allow that feeling to dictate the nature of the response. You see, freedom is nothing mysterious or mystical. Freedom is being constantly aware of the momentum of the subconscious, which determines three-fourths of our actions. Being aware of the momentum of memory, the subconscious, and always being ahead of it. Observing the flowers and the tree is easy. Observing the stream of thoughts while sitting in a corner by yourself is easy. But to observe the momentum of memory while you are living and working and in relationship with others takes tremendous energy. It needs tremendous sensitivity and alertness to do so. When the envy or the jealousy comes up, you go to the root of it and you say, yes, I'm jealous of the other person because I see my own poverty. I'm jealous of the other person because I'm not reconciled to the fact of what I am. After all, what is jealousy? Jealousy is really not a feeling directed towards others. It is a feeling directed towards oneself. One is not reconciled to the fact of one's own existence. One wants to run away from it. So if you see a richer person than you are, then you feel jealous. Not because he's rich, but because you are poor. If you see a more handsome or more beautiful person, jealousy comes up again. And it seems to be directed towards that person. It has nothing to do with that person. The person has occasion to stimulation of discontent with the reality of your own life. So, for getting free of jealousy or envy, one does not have to form a code of conduct and impose a discipline upon oneself. But if I see that jealousy or envy is the result of my dissatisfaction with myself, my unwillingness to face what I am, then the searchlight of attention will be focused upon the reality of my own life. This is meditation. It is an all inclusive attention which is all the time moving with the movement of life. It is getting intimately related to the facts as they are and not wishing them to be other than they are. A person who has seen how the movement of ego creates jealousy and envy has seen all the mischief of the ego. This moment it is a jealousy. Next moment it is anger. Third moment discontent. Fourth moment violence. All this implies the unwillingness of the ego to face reality. Well, till so far this morning, this Beautiful exposition of Vimala of our conditioning and the possibility of freedom. So I wish you a great day. Bye for now.